years, Diana Sanchez has worked in the marketing and public community relations field. Currently, she is the Public and Community Relations Director at Van Nuys Airport, one of the busiest general aviation airports in the world. She has been with Los Angeles World Airports for the past 18 years, 10 of them at Van Nuys. She is currently responsible for all facets of the airport's community, media, and public relations outreach. Ms. Sanchez plays a key role in building the community relations activities at LAWA and Van Nuys, including forming Team LAWA, an employee and tenant volunteer group, starting the airport's aviation careers education, growing Job Shadow Day, and establishing an online newsletter. She has also fostered partnerships with groups such as the Greater Van Nuys Rotary to offer programs recognizing outstanding middle school young achievers and award grants to middle school teachers. Under her leadership, the airport has received several community awards, including the Champion of Education Award in 2011 and the Valley of the Stars Award in 2013, both from the Valley Economic Alliance. The airport also received the Mid-Valley YMCA Philip Smith Pillar of the Community Award in 2013, the Community Award of Excellence from the Greater San Fernando Valley Chamber of Commerce in 2012, and was inducted to the Valley Industry and Commerce Association Hall of Fame in 2016. Ms. Sanchez is the recipient of the 2016 Pillar of the Community Award for the Mid-Valley YMCA, the 2011 Champion of Education Award from the Valley Economic Alliance, and is past chairwoman of the Greater San Fernando Valley Chamber of Commerce. She currently serves as president for the Encino Chamber of Commerce, is a member of the Board of Governors for the Valley Economic Alliance, foundation board member for Valley Presbyterian Hospital, board member for the Valley Family Center, and vice chair for the Mid-Valley YMCA. Yet she finds time to come here. Ms. Sanchez also began the airport's marketing efforts by participating in business trade shows, including the National Business Aviation Association's Schedulers and Dispatchers Conference, and the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Organization Annual Conference. While at LAX, Ms. Sanchez was responsible for community relations, serving as a liaison to the City of Inglewood, where she was elected Vice President of the Inglewood Airport Area Chamber of Commerce for 3 terms. She also implemented the LAX Speakers Bureau and K-6 educational program that provides a 3-week summer aviation careers education camp for middle and high school students, which has since successfully expanded to Van Nuys. Public and media outreach to support these projects and events include press releases, speaking engagements, and advertising, utilizing radio, print, and web ads. Prior to joining LAWA, Ms. Sanchez was general manager of Infomat, a list brokerage and list management company. She previously served as senior account executive for Creative Direct Marketing Group and as production manager and fulfillment coordinator for Cadmus Direct West. A graduate of California University Long Beach, where she served as student body president, Ms. Sanchez holds a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism with an emphasis in public relations and a master's degree in public administration. Welcome, Diana Sanchez.
Thank you. I'm going to have to shorten that bio a little bit, I guess. So, LAX. How many of you guys have traveled through LAX before? Everybody, right? How fun is it? Yeah, exactly. So it's been a number of years. If you go back, you can tell a number of years prior to us redoing the Tom Bradley International Terminal. It had been a number of years before we actually did a lot of infrastructure to the terminals and the land side and just the operation in general. During that time, though, travel has really gone up. We were projecting prior to 9/11, we were projecting 75 million annual passengers, and we were trying to prepare for that modernization project. But just recently, since 9/11, things dropped and things got on hold. Were put on hold. But now we're projecting 80 million annual passengers. So let's go ahead and start here. Okay. Los Angeles World Airports, I'm from Van Nuys, so it's a sister airport to LAX, so sometimes I might say Van Nuys, I apologize. But Los Angeles International Airport is the 3rd busiest airport, as you can see, in the United States, and the largest airport in California. So have you guys flown out of other airports in California? So you see that as a fact, right? When you travel, you can really noticeably see that. Since the start of the economic recovery, as I was mentioning about the demand at LAX has increased from 56 million annual passengers to 80 million just last year. So you know that's just going to go up and continue growing. But LAX was actually built for 50 million annual passengers, so we're past capacity. As a primary international gateway, you know that on the West Coast, 20 million of our annual passengers in 2016 were flying to and from international destinations. And I think you all know that if you're going someplace internationally, LAX is the place to fly out of. And we're also seeking to host LA is seeking to host the 2024 Olympics. The last major upgrade we had at LAX was when we had the 1984 Olympics, so it's been a very long time. I was just a kid, just to point that out. So we're doing $14 billion, sorry about that, to modernize LAX. $14 billion, it's a lot of money. $8.5 billion on improving the airport itself, the infrastructure inside the terminal areas. Part of that is Tom Bradley International Terminal. Have you guys, anyone been in that yet? Okay, so it's been a few years. The new midfield satellite concourse, as well as renovating existing terminals and runway safety projects. As you know, they want to move the the north runway a little, make more distance between the north runways. Should also point out that LAX is a major economic generator in the Southern California region. 620,000 jobs at the airport. Right here in Van Nuys, we have over 10,000 jobs, just how much the airport generates. And that's not just like the airport itself, it's like our contractors, people who work for the companies at the airport. LAX is also responsible for $37.3 billion in labor income. Just think of how much that is. I'd like just $1 billion, please. There's also $126.6 billion in business revenue and $14.9 billion in local, state, and federal tax revenue. Okay, so in addition to the modernization of the airport itself, we're embarking on this large project. It's called LAX Landside Modernization Project, LAMP for short. And I left you some papers on your desk that frequently asked questions and some of the facts about it. But we're proposing $5.5 billion for the landside access program. This will relieve traffic in the central terminal area. How many of you have been in there, either dropping someone off or just trying to get in there to park or picking someone up? It's crazy, right? And I would not want to be there if something happens, because you just can't go anywhere. We're going to create new convenient locations for passengers to pick up and drop off. We're going to give passengers a fast and reliable way to get to their flights and reduce vehicle emissions in the area. Let's face it, we've smelled that, right? Especially working there, you get that all the time. But this will drive a lot of the traffic outside, as well as take out all those buses. Have you seen those buses go around sometimes with one person on them or nobody? So what the LAMP project is really going to do is relieve that traffic for us in the central terminal area. It's going to create new convenient locations, as I mentioned, so that you don't even have to enter the area. It's also going to have new rental car facilities. So during peak hours, just to give you an idea of what you guys have been sitting in, or what we have all been sitting in, I should say, is on a normal day, 95,000 vehicles enter that central terminal area. Can you imagine that? 95,000 on a normal day. That's a lot. During peak periods, we have 6,000 enter the CTA each hour. 6,000. Finally, during Thanksgiving, have you guys traveled during Thanksgiving? Attempted to? I avoid it personally, but we have 120,000 vehicles in that central terminal area, and you just have to go around and you really have to plan a lot ahead. And again, it's just going to get worse. It's going to get better with the project, of course, but if we don't do anything, it's going to get worse. So slightly more than half the vehicles in the central terminal area are private vehicles. So that's you and me driving or dropping someone off. Slightly more. So you realize how many other shuttle buses, rental car companies are going through there. 23 different rental cars are located. Can you see all that? I don't know how well you can see that, but you know, you have like Avis here, Dollar over here, Alamo over here, National. So they're kind of all over. And if you're traveling, I know we're all kind of local, but if you're traveling, someone else coming over here, trying to figure out where your rental car place is also kind of a mess. Or if you just wanted to rent something, because I've done that before, rent something from that area. So this is what the project is. It's going to create a central terminal area. Can't really see that too much, but it's an automated people mover who will take you into the central terminal area, and there'll be different drop-off locations. You can see that. So there's going to be like a central area where you can drop off and pick up people out here, rental car facilities, and you just jump on that people mover and get to your place. Have you guys been to Vegas? Okay, so you know how you get into that little people mover and it takes you to where you're going? That kind of thing. It's easy, you know what you're doing. And
Where's the current terminal in that photo? Gotcha. It's over the left.
yeah, over here.
The entirely new terminal.
No, it's not a new terminal. It's you park someplace and you jump on the people mover to get there. Right. So it's taking the congestion out of. And then there's also, if you're renting a car, people renting a car, they just drop it off there, or you go there and then you just jump on the people mover to get to where you want to go.
So private vehicles would be then stationed there in the middle?
Well, private vehicles you can either park off, or it'll lessen the congestion, so you can still, say you're dropping your mom off at the airport, you'll have a little bit less traffic in there now. But say you want to drop her off because it's easy for you to drop off someplace where you have plenty of parking. Maybe you want to go with her, the people mover with her. You can do that. But this is the LAMP project. It's going to include the the consolidated rental car facility that I told you about, 2 intermodal transportation facilities that were on the inn there, as well as the LAX train, an automated people remover, which I pointed out in the last slide. I think the actual last slide is probably a better one, and related roadway improvements to go along with that, because you don't want to be stuck in traffic out there as well. So proposed phase 1, it would be construction from 2017, which is now, to 2023. And the automated people mover will be operational in late 2023. So it's going to take a little while, early 2024. And FAA's terminal area forecast for passengers levels is 86 to 90 million annual passengers at that time. So it looks like we're just going to finish it just in time. Now for the consolidated rental car facility, which we call CONRAC, that's going to be 6 million square feet, 8,000 ready return spaces, so you can just drive in, 10,000 overflow spaces, 1,200 rental car employee spaces, 2,200 airport employee or public parking spaces, and access from the 405 and the 105. You guys all live local, right? So we're probably all on the same freeway, the 405.
At the same time.
Yeah, unfortunately. Although I do ride the flyaway sometimes when I have to go out there. Yeah, it's easy. Just you can check your phone and they drive for you. Yeah, the trick I used is I think 7 is the one that suffers the most. So I usually just cross the street and go to like 1. Yeah, you get on first. So this is what it's going to look like. Doesn't it look beautiful? So that's the people mover up here. You have different facilities. You can take the escalator up, get on the people mover. Very much like, have any of you guys rode some of the metro things? So very much like that. Basically, with this new convenient mode of transportation, this will be a new front door to LAX. So instead of meeting all in the central terminal area, the central area will actually be over at one of those other facilities, the inner module facilities, and then you jump on. Just like Las Vegas, because you're meeting in one central area and then you jump on to get to your local terminal.
Get a put in reference that lane there on the right, or street, is that Airport Avenue or?
This one?
Yes,
Aviation.
aviation, right,
Yeah, yeah. So here they're going to have, and that's going to be the main location, it's going to have 8,300 parking spaces. It's going to be 5 stories and 3 million square feet. It's very large. And so there's this place called Manchester Square that we've called it since I've been with LAWA for 18 years, and I started at LAX. Back then they were already buying up the land, like people, it was kind of like an Inglewood area, and people just kind of wanted to sell their homes and close to the airport, things like that. So they've been buying those areas for a very long time, 18 years.
Wow.
I'm just curious because I'm trying to, and it's kind of faded so I can't see.
Right.
That's aviation. And I'm just trying to picture, that entire area is completely built up. There's businesses, there's hotels even in that area. So,
Actually, there's a place just to,
and maybe I'm missing
there's like travel lodge, but right next to that, there's an area that LAX has been buying up for quite some time.
So it's easy enough to claim all that.
We already have it.
To follow up on what Sarah just asked, the Palmdale idea is not to be revived.
We still have the land out there, but there just wasn't getting enough movement. You know, we've tried air service a number of times, and the economy out there is just not supporting it. I know we had the idea way back when that things would grow up all around it, but it just hasn't happened. And so just putting one airline out there, they always fail, and that's with us subsidizing it and the federal government subsidizing it. I just don't see that happen. Eventually, hopefully, because we still have the land, but it's not now.
Yeah, you have the land, so
Yeah.
it would be a great investment, but that's my 2 cents.
Well, believe me, people have tried. I mean, can you imagine if you're the only airline out there, how well you would think you would do well if you know, but it's just supply and demand. And I know John Wayne's passenger count is growing. I mean, for a while, except for LAX, a lot of the other smaller aircrafts like John Wayne, Ontario had suffered from the economy because everyday people had less discretionary income to travel. But it's starting to improve, and you see more and more passengers, and all of our numbers are up. Even at Van Nuys, well, I should say, especially at Van Nuys, because we're a private aviation, it suffered a lot during the economy too.
You didn't mention Burbank at all.
Burbank doesn't belong to us. LAX, we used to have LAX, Ontario, Van Nuys, and Palmdale. Burbank is its own authority.
I realize that. You mentioned John Wayne, though.
Yeah, just because I'm familiar with
Burbank's in direct competition.
You know, I don't
Not
even
on
see it.
international flights, but...
I don't see Burbank out of a competition at all. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I think we're not in competition with each other. I think we're all just trying to meet the demand. So, you know, 80 million annual passengers, that's a lot of people.
Question, because Benjamin, which I guess I just never grasped that Burbank was its own authority. But there's I would presume, a lot of coordination between LAWA and Burbank, I hope, in terms of how you're addressing this whole inflow, especially with the Olympics potentially coming.
Well, I know that everyone kind of works together. You know, the airlines kind of do that themselves as far as
No,
like
but I'm
where
talking
they're
in terms
doing
of
it.
the airport planning and the 2 airport processes.
Well, I can't say that we don't not meet together. We meet, but we're not on the same authority, so that we don't have any control over what Burbank does, is what I'm trying to say. However, do we share information? Yes, of course.
Just for your information, Burbank is owned by Pasadena, Burbank, and Glendale.
No, I
Each
understand.
city has 3 commissioners on the airport authority.
No, but I was talking about coordination between what's happening with LAWA, what's happening with Burbank, because it's the same air traffic, it's all us getting impacted, that's why I was asking.
Okay. I know I don't have too much more time, so I want to speed it along a little bit, but just to show you the different areas, 8,300 parking spaces, 5 stories, 3.1 million. The west one transportation facility will have 8,000 parking spaces, 5.6 stories, and 3.1 billion square feet. And this is what it's going to look like. What do you think? Nice and modern, pretty, clean?
Are these people movers, can be connected directly to the green line?
They're working on that, yes. Making sure that it can go into the area, yeah.
Will they have multiple tracks, so if something dies, the whole system doesn't get back on?
I don't
We've
know.
all seen it happen, whether it's DFW or whatever, where this died, nothing else can do it.
I don't know that answer, but I can check on it. And I imagine if something died, we'd have buses right there to pick everyone up and transport them. But I'm not sure. I'd have to check on the lines. So you can't really see that, but you can see it more in your presentation. Does everyone have access to a presentation? Did you get one? Okay. So the train will travel 2.25 miles from the Conrack, which is the area to your right. You're right, yes. To the last station opposite of Tom Bradley Terminal, which will be out here. The train will take 15 to 20 minutes to run from and to the farthest location. There will be 3 stations outside the airport, which I showed you. The 2 intermodal facilities I showed you in the last slide, and then the rental car facility area. And it'll also connect with the Crenshaw LAX line and Green Line extension at the second station next to the east so that'll be at the second station. Right there, second one. Passengers walkways 35 feet wide, 40 feet above grade, and moving walkways. You have a question? Oh, okay. Jason. So there's a terminal interface, which I think is probably what you're more interested in, would be extended up to 20 feet above an existing roof line, and escalators and elevators and stairs. And we obviously have to work in conjunction with the FAA to make sure all these plans are approved because of height restrictions from landing and takeoffs.
Is there a track that's just going to go around the terminal? Like if you're trying to get from one terminal to another terminal?
Yes, you'll be able to do that.
You don't have to go all the way out.
No.
Yeah,
Because it just it's going and dropping people off, going, so you can jump on.
I thought I heard something that also that there would be underground people mover or something to get from one side of the, if you had to change terminals.
That part I haven't heard of, but let me,
Yeah,
underground, let me
Granted,
confirm
was
that. I can
driving when
email.
heard it, but that's what I
Can email
thought I
you?
understood.
Yeah. And there is that too, like you know how the terminals kind of join in, like if I was going 1 to 2, can do that.
I'm curious, for example, because my daughter goes back and forth to Utah to visit her mom. I'm in and out of Terminal 1 far more often than anyone wants to be, and I know that the parking there is being ripped apart, and the bridges, but are all those changes, like with the bridge, tied into what's going to be done from
Yes.
here, so you don't first rip the thing apart again in 2 years?
Right, it's all tied in.
So it's part of this plan, and as they rebuild that thing?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And that has happened before, so it's a...
Well, that's why I was asking. I just have this vision of them finishing it and closing it.
So the west station, as you mentioned, 2 stories, 100,000 square feet, 75 feet above grade, passenger walkways. I won't waste too much time on the details because you have all of that. And you'll actually, it'll be posted online too, so you'll have those details. So this is another idea. See where the metro maintenance facility is over to the right, and the connector of Aviation Boulevard. And that's still under study, and that's actually not our project, that's a metro project, but they're reviewing that. So phase 2 of this whole project will be running from 2025 to 2030. And in 2025, 2030, that period, the FAA anticipates 96 million annual passengers. And to answer your question about Burbank, they will be going up as well. Future developments, 9 parcels, 47.2 acres. And our goal is to downsize partials, minimize regional trips, capture internal trips, pedestrians, revitalize, and enhance airport visitor experience in general. And you might wonder, like, why are we going out and talking about these different projects? Because we want people to be aware of it, so that they know when they're traveling, they're not surprised to get there and, oh, I can't get in there, or, you know, what's going on, and that kind of thing. Currently, this is the timeline of what we've been doing. To that page. So we released the draft environmental impact report in September. Public comment period ended on October 31st. The final EIR environmental impact report was January 2017, and City Council's approval, it should go before them in June.
Now for the central terminal area, is that still going to be parking there, or are
Yes.
they going to get?
They'll still have parking there.
Okay.
With the consolidated rental car facility, that's going to take out a lot of that traffic. And then some people just don't want to have to deal with it either, and it'll be actually cheaper parking outside as well.
Yeah.
First, I'd like to say, when I saw this at the neighborhood council meeting, it reminds me a lot of Orlando, because that's how you go to one central terminal with restaurants and ticketing and all that stuff, and you can spend time with your family, and then it branches off with the people movers to get to your actual terminal. So I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
Secondly, we have a very inexpensive parking lot that we park at on La Cienega and Century, and then we take the bus. So will the buses drop us off all the way at our terminal, or will it drop us off at the people mover?
People mover.
So people need to learn to budget like 20 extra minutes into their
Right.
travels.
The goal is to take out all, because we have so many, like, you have that, and then there's other parking
Right.
facilities,
Right.
and there's the rental car facilities, and the
The
hotels. Trying to get all that
so
out of
everything
there.
gets dropped off at the people mover,
Right.
including the flyaway buses?
Yes, and that's
Nice.
part of the plan right now.
No, that's awesome. Centralize everything.
Would they be just a monorail, or it's gonna be 2 tracks?
I don't know about the 2-track thing. I wrote that question down
Oh,
and
you
asked,
did?
but it's
Like if someone forgets and then misses their terminal, they have to wait on a loop where they have to get off and then walk.
no, there'll be options for that, but I have to find out specifically how that is. And I know one question I got at another presentation was about safety and security, so I'll just address that as well. There will be a police presence in all of this, and safety and security, because, you know, that's we're airport, so obviously that's one of our main concerns. Well, actually, that's our main concern. I argue that we're actually safer with this model than being stuck in the central terminal and not being able to move, because it's spread out.
I'm just curious, because you said it's going June, it's going to go to the city council. As you're informed of it, is there any pushback from some of the council on this, or are they mostly behind it?
I haven't heard of any pushback from any group that we've been at, or I think everyone agrees that we need to upgrade.
Just curious
Yeah.
what it's facing.
If there is, I'm just not aware of it.
Okay. Diana, is that restaurant open? That the landmark?
It hasn't been open for a while. The Post was running it, and they had to do some renovations to it because some earthquake renovations, but it'll still be there.
So you said originally it was 50 million capacity. What's the new model for it? What's the new capacity? It's going to be like 120? Or?
You know, that's a good question, and I don't remember seeing the actual new model. We just said what we're predicted to hit, so you're going to hit that at least. Let me check for that.
I'm not seeing anything about this on LAWA's Facebook page. Are they going to create a Facebook page just for these updates so we can stay informed of what's going on?
There should be stuff on the Facebook page. I'm surprised there isn't.
Maybe I'm not seeing it then, because I do like the page.
Let me check on that. If not, I'm sure we can do that. I know we haven't created a specific one for that.
How are you funded?
The projects?
Child project as well as LAWA. It's was there some government?
The FAA funds some projects, various things. So we supply for grants from the FAA. I can't tell you the breakdown, but I could find out for you on what this does. But primarily we're funded by the airlines.
By the
Yeah. So we don't use any taxpayer money at all. It's all airlines. We get lease money from the airlines. We also get a percentage of money from the restaurants and the concessions at the airport.
So do you assume that this will trigger what you mentioned, maybe trigger increase some kind of maybe airline fee or airfare?
I don't think so, because they've already, the airlines just charge what they charge, and in that is already a fee for the airport. What's happened a lot is LAX, well, for instance, let me give you an example. LAX used to subsidize Van Nuys, so we used to get money from LAX because we're a reliever airport. We're taking the smaller airplanes away to decongest it. In 2010, that all changed, and now Van Nuys is self-sufficient. So that money has been going to the projects. Now that's just a small part of it, obviously, but we've taken action to save money everywhere, as well as the airlines. So any of the questions that you had, I'll email Brenda, and then she can get that out to you guys.
Thank you.
I'd also like to say they are asking for letters of support, and I have a template that I'll email everyone, and if you so choose to email or send a letter to the commission, the city council, who's collecting those letters?
We're just collecting them, and we're giving them to, they're addressing them to Deborah, who is our chief executive officer, basically, so that if she needs them, she can have them, or she can show the city council we have these letters of support.
Thank you, Diane.